welcome to our next episode of Cuppa Tea with the Vet. And we have got today, Emily, get your cup up.
Oh.
Thank you. We can't get the photo afterwards if we don't have the cup. So we have got Emily Biskup, who is the clinical director of 9 Mile Veterinary Hospital, which is Finch Hampstead. So thank you so much for joining us, Emily. We are so pleased to have you. And so everybody, please come along, get involved, ask lots of questions. We have got Emily here and she is happy to answer any of your questions. And for some reason, it's right a miserable day outside, so you might as well be inside and asking questions here. So Emily, introduce yourself.
So, as Donna has already introduced, I'm Emily and I am the clinical director of the 9 Mile Vet Group. So we're a group of 5 practices. Someone who's immediately come on is Stowe, and I am Stowe's biggest fan. So Stowe is a medical detection dog, which I will come back to, and he is absolutely incredible. I run a group of practices in Berkshire and Hampshire, and I am very proud of my group of practices and the group of amazing people that we work with. We love what we do, and we love animals, and we try to do our best, especially during this COVID breakdown. So absolutely ask me a question if you want to, and I will tell you a little bit about Stowe. He's a medical detection dog, and who's just said hi to me. And he detects POTS, and he's absolutely incredible at it. And I think many of you may have seen what medical detection dogs are doing at the moment. And actually, one of the things that they're trying to teach them to do at the moment is to smell out COVID.
Yeah.
Seen that, which is absolutely incredible. They detect all these different cancers and things like that. But if we can use them to help with COVID as well, that would be brilliant. So
I have to say I am fully on board. When I read about that, because I think it's 6 of them they've trained to 6 of them that they've trained to do the COVID detection, and it is just so impressive, isn't it? And I mean, I am fully on board with all of that. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if I could go to a hospital and just have a line of dogs all sniffing me up as I went along, and then the right one sits when that's my problem, that would be the best hospital ever.
I think it would put a lot of people at ease. You know, if you tell a small child, now you're going to go to a hospital and you're going to get sniffed by a dog, I think they'd all be there. They wouldn't have to worry about needles and things.
Exactly. And then you could get treated by a nurse dog as well, which is basically the one that just gives you cuddles. That's like the St. Bernard dog that you go at the end of the line. And I've got it all planned. It's amazing.
The nanny dogs, so they can then obviously look after all the children and alert people when they're crying. So
exactly. Exactly. It's amazing. My dog does. If my daughter starts crying, he goes up and he says, "All right, you can't normally have my ears, but right now you can have my ears," because she thinks they're really soft. So he gives her his head. So bizarre, because he wouldn't do it any other time. So he's like, "That'll shut you up." They are brilliant. So yeah, thank you, Zoe. Thank you so much for getting involved, and Emily obviously loves Stowe too. So yeah, really appreciate you bringing that up. So we obviously want to know more about you, Emily, as well, and more about you as a human, because it's so easy to forget that our vets are actually people, and they actually are real and nice and lovely. So yeah, we just want to learn more about you as well. So what do you like to do in your spare time?
So I love being in the outside. We're very blessed in this area, aren't we, to be in such a green environment, which I think we're all appreciating at the moment, to be able to get outdoors and go for a walk and rebalance your mental health. So I love being outdoors. I love going for long walks. I love gardening a lot. I'm blessed with a big greenhouse. So currently I'm trying to somehow produce a lot of vegetables to feed us for the summer. And I also love reading. I read a very large amount. I love books, and obviously I love animals, but that's a given. And then I love traveling as well, but can't really travel really very much at the moment. We got to stay home, but that means we can enjoy the beautiful countryside that we are around here, and we can enjoy the beauty of it. So I live actually right next to a farm, and it's a cow farm, and I love watching the cows and they watch me. So I'm often gardening, and then you kind of feel that feeling that you're being watched, and then you turn around and there's a cow just watching everything I'm doing, making sure I'm doing everything properly. So
Cows are amazing. I love watching them as well, and they have got the biggest personalities, and I love their noses, and I
Oh,
really,
noses.
really, they're just great. And I love calves when they suck your fingers. I can't help it. I love that feeling. I'm just like, if I ever see calves, I'm like, suck my fingers.
When the calves get released into the field for the first time onto the spring grass, it's absolutely hilarious. So they literally run, that sort of crab walk to the side with their tail out at a funny angle, and they just run hell for leather across the fields, and you just can't help but smile watching them.
Oh, they are too cute. And with your plants, what are you growing? What's your favorite thing to grow out of it?
I think there's nothing nicer than plucking a ripe tomato straight from the plant and putting it straight on your plate. So I'm growing a lot of tomatoes. I've got far too many tomatoes. I've got broccoli, I've got squash, pumpkin, courgettes, cucumbers. And then every year I also grow dahlias for cut flowers in honor of my dad. So I grow those every year as well.
Oh, that's really lovely. I have to say, you can keep the devil's fruit though. Tomatoes, not my cup of tea at all. But the rest of it sounds absolutely fantastic. I'm trying to grow loofahs this year, and it's not work.
I heard of someone else that's trying to grow loofahs at the moment. I didn't actually even know they grew.
I know. I mean, I actually thought they were some sea cucumbery thing, but no. Turns out they're actually, yeah, you get them on a plant, and the national, oh, I can't think which it is. One of the charities is growing them to sell them, and I thought I read it in an article, so I thought, well, I'm going to try that then because I'm a real eco head, and so I ordered them. I got 14 seeds. Of those 14 seeds, only one has grown, and I mean, a few of them grew, but they've all died. And then one of them is going like, I'm going to try and live. I'm going to try and live, and it always has one leaf, and then a new one in the back, and then that dies. And yeah, so we're not doing that well. But yeah, I can't say that I'm as green fingered as you. It sounds like you've definitely got the knack. So which sounds amazing.
That might be the best loofah ever. So
I hope so. I love that optimism. I'm gonna believe that absolutely. So, what made you decide to become a vet then?
So it was a couple of things. So firstly, the obvious one, which is I love animals. Secondly, I like the puzzle of it. So when you're trying to look after an animal or work out what's wrong with it, it is a puzzle. So you've got to put all the pieces together to actually then work out what's wrong with it so that you can then look after it. And then I do love the people side of it. Some people say quite wrongly that if you go into vetting, it's because you're not a people person and because you don't want to be a doctor, but actually you really need to be a people person as a vet. And I like that human touch of it, that you might be able to make a difference to one person's life, only maybe in a small way, but you might be able to do your bit to help them by helping their animal. So I really like that side of it as well.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I mean, that's the thing is these pets, as much as I don't really like the word pet because it sounds so small, doesn't it? It's definitely your family member, and and that's exactly right. This is the most important thing to them in the world, and it's definitely equal to your child and your husband, if not, going a bit above. It's all around there, isn't it? So. It's a really huge thing, and at that moment when an owner is desperately worried about their animal, fur child, fur baby, whatever, fur client, I like, by the way.
I haven't used that before.
Where so yeah, when they're desperately worried, they need so much, and you are there providing that answer, solution, that world. It's such a huge thing, isn't it? So yeah, to be able to come across in a really good way is so important, because when somebody's there crying their eyes out, they don't want to feel uncomfortable about it or whatever, and equally you get to share in those amazing moments when you hand over a basket full of puppies or anything like that as well.
I think we should start doing that at work when we give our puppies back post C-section. I think we should get some baskets to put them in and a nice little twee blanket. That'd be brilliant.
Absolutely. Yeah, it'd be so nice, wouldn't it? You could have the little paw prints and everything else like that. It would be so cute. So yeah, no, that's fantastic. So what's your favorite part of being a vet? Or do you feel you might have answered that
I
now
think we
already?
kind of answered that. It is the human side of it, knowing that you can make a little bit of a difference. The other bit I love is when I am out and about in Finchampstead and I do see my clients and the dogs run up to me rather than away from me. It's really good. And it's the getting to know your clients bit. I think one of the beautiful things about having a local vet and being a vet that's part of the community is that you get to know your clients. And I know a lot of my colleagues, both nurses and vets, would say the same, that when you get to know your clients, it's really nice. You're part of the community and you get to know all about them and their lives as well. And feel like you make friends. They're not just clients, you make friends out of that. So that's really nice.
That's definitely true. You end up hearing so many amazing things in the consult room, don't you? And yeah, I know I certainly have. And you just think, oh, that's nice to be part of that as well, isn't it? So yeah, it's definitely part of their community and their world and their life. Yeah, that is lovely. Zoe also wanted to add that I know Stowe is in safe hands when he is with you, which is a huge reassurance, which is a lovely thing to say. So
It's
thank you for
very
adding that.
lovely. We always love having Stowe in here, and Stowe needs lots of biscuits. He likes his biscuits, and Stowe looks after Zoe. So our job is to look after Stowe, so Stowe can look after Zoe. So no, we all love Stowe.
Oh, that's perfect. Talking of those biscuits, so what sort of a snacker are you? Healthy? Not healthy? What's your favourite snack?
I'm not healthy. That I think, in a veterinary practice, we're always having cakes, biscuits, and lovely things that people either bring in or bake for us, or we bake for each other. And I dread to think how big we would be if our job wasn't walking around all the time. When you look at your phone at the end of the day and you've done 10 kilometers just around the practice, you think, okay, then I'm allowed that bit of cake or chocolate. But I'm definitely a chocolate sweet person. I absolutely love that. And yeah, I'm sure the nurses will agree where they find me lurking.
Well, that's fair enough. It just makes you human. That's all good. So what pets have you got?
So I have 3 cats. They are all very different. My eldest cat I got when I was still at university. So he was at university with me during my final years. And he's a real cat in so much as you cuddle him too much, he'll give you a swipe, and he looks like the world is upon his shoulders all of the time and a little bit grumpy. And then the other 2, they claim to be cats, but I'm not necessarily convinced they are cats. So we've got our middle cat, George, who's huge, and he talks far too much. Like, you can have a full conversation. And when I started consulting at home, lots of my clients have definitely spoken to George inadvertently because he's wanted to be part of the conversation when we're doing telephone consults. And he likes to go for walks with us around the garden, which you yell walkies to him and he comes walking. And then our third cat is actually the son of a cat that was with us at Ansell's, so one of our other practices, which is in Fleet. And Tinks was our practice cat there because she then stayed with us for about, I can't remember how many years, maybe 6 or 7 years, maybe a bit more. And she had kittens as soon as she'd arrived, and I took one of them home. And he is very naughty. He's always up to mischief, always hunting, always, yeah. So most of the nurses know all my cats very well. So.
Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. Great personalities, which is lovely. So what part of being a vet still grosses you out? There must be something that grosses you out.
Maggots and pus.
Maggots and pus. Yeah. See, I had, sorry.
I was going to say, are you one of the nurses who loves pus? Because we have certain nurses that will come running a mile when we have to lance an abscess, and they want to squeeze the pus out. And I'm going,
See, so pus comes in 2 sorts. You've got chunky pus and you've got normal pus. And I must admit, my normal pus is okay. Chunky pus, don't like that. That cottage cheese sort, no. But maggots, yeah, I do like a good maggot, maggot. It's very satisfying when you've made a rabbit live and, kept pulling them out for 3 days. And, so yeah, I do. I quite like that. But yeah, it's fair enough that it grosses people out. It grosses a lot of people out.
So I always wonder, why do fly strike and maggots always appear on the day that you've planned to have rice for dinner? It always happens. Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. Oh my God. I had a great story once. There was a nurse I was working with, and we'd sat and picked loads of maggots out, and we put them on a towel, like, because that's just what we were, putting them onto. But she'd got it, we did this on the tub table, and it's got a grate across it, and she'd had the corner of the towel just stuck down the side of the table. And as she went to pull the towel, it was stuck. So the whole thing pinged and maggots just flew everywhere. Oh, I did laugh. I mean, you can only laugh, can't you? As she then had to.
It's in your eye or in your mouth. Oh.
It was pretty grim, but there was a lot of laughter that day, so you can't deny that. So Lucy has said Hendricks and a love heart.
Yeah. So Lucy had to look after Hendricks recently when Hendricks came in poorly. He, as I've said to lots of my clients, he got some very severe stress cystitis following lockdown because unfortunately we live next to a footpath, and the only thing I can link is that he spends a lot of time on that footpath, and it's now full of dogs, and he got very stressed because of that. So he had to come in, and Lucy looks after him very well for me. And I have to admit, I wasn't a particularly good owner on this. I kept texting for updates, and I was very, very worried. But it reminds us all what it's like to be on the other side of vetting when we're very stressed about our animals. And so it is it's important to remind us of that, although I don't want my cats to be ill. But no, Lucy's one of our out of hours vet. She's the head out of hours vet nurse, and she's absolutely incredible. And she looks after, in the middle of the night, all those animals that are coming in at 2 a.m. It's most likely going to be Lucy that you talk to.
Oh, amazing. Nice to meet you, Lucy. Nice to hear about you. And Harrick says hi as well. So that's lovely. So what would your dream achievement be if time was no object?
It's really difficult, isn't it? Because you should say something really, altruistic, like I'll find the cure for cancer or something like that. But there's lots of things I'd like to do. It'd be fun to be able to visit every single country in the world, but there is lots of very obscure ones, or say ones that have some political unrest or something like that you wouldn't want to see. So yeah, it would be cool to do that. But I'm not sure that that's actually achievable.
Doesn't matter. That's not the question.
Yeah, so I think that would be my one.
That's very cool. I mean, yeah, I haven't travelled anywhere near enough. I spend my life going to the Isle of Wight. So
It's a good place.
It is good because you can take the dog there, and that's why we go, because we've got old dogs, and so I'm like, no, can't leave the boys, no. So you just end up spending the whole time going to the Isle of Wight. But yeah, I would love to see more places. I do think it's incredible what's out there, and Google Maps just isn't quite the same.
No, it's not. It's that there's something very different to actually experiencing a place and experiencing the culture. And wherever I go, I seem to attract animals, which is very nice. You always find a cat even on the middle of the beach.
Yeah, I'll bet you do. So Zoe says, where would you like to travel to first when it's safe to do so?
So I mean, that's how long do you have, Zoe, to be honest? There's obviously, I've got lots of adventures that I want to do at some point. I'd like to go to Nepal. I'd like to go and walk around the Rockies. I'd like to do some adventures like that. I'd also love to go to Bhutan to see the tiger's nest. I think on the top of the list would be something really relaxing. I think we all need a good relax after this. So I love Greece. I love all the different islands and all the food. And then Italy is my other favorite place in the world. It's where I got married, and I want to go back there as often as I'd like to.
Oh, lovely. That's really lovely. I've got a Greek friend. She's forever saying, come to Greece, come to Greece.
Go to Greece.
I will. It's not a problem. It's just, I've got to have my boys, they come first. So no, that's amazing. So Jill says Lily is doing well. All three, Benji, Banjo and Lily, are enjoying my company during lockdown. Oh, that's nice.
Right. Yeah, Lily's a legend of a cat, very much so. She lost her tail a very long time ago after an accident, and she is still doing incredibly well, which is brilliant. And that's down to her owner as well. So,
oh, good. We love amazing owners. They are wonderful.
Precisely. We could do our job without amazing owners. So,
very true. Very true. So if you could be amazing at any sport, what would it be?
Well, I always wanted to be amazing at some sort of martial arts, but anyone who knows me knows that I have no coordination and no sense of personal space. So I think that it wouldn't be a particularly thing that in reality I would ever be good at. I also always imagined that I'd be really good at running, but I get really bored. So, you have that image of it's like, it'd be easy. I'll just go and run a couple of miles and it'd be so much fun and nice. And I get really bored. So,
I have to say, I'm there. I'm there completely. So I ran a marathon, and it is the most boring thing ever, as far as I'm concerned. Now, I know that other people don't think that, but how I ended up doing it was hilarious, because basically I also do gymnastics, which is much more fun in my view. And I had a friend who he did fell running, which the thing is, I know it's going to be really offensive to any fell runners, but I only have images in my head of the cheese running. You remember, where they roll the cheese down the hill in Gloucester? Exactly. So, and I'm from the West Country, so we are very aware of the cheese rolling situation. So when someone says they fell run, that's all the image you get in your head is someone chasing a cheese down the hill, which is incredibly dangerous. And then, but then he was like, no, it's not like that. And I was like, and then he was getting really wound up by me. And of course, you can't help it when someone's getting wound up like that. You kind of find it funny, don't you? And so I was trying to convince him to come to gymnastics more, because gymnastics is fun, somersaults and pinging around, all this exciting stuff. And he's like, no, you don't even know how hard it is to do running. And I was like, ooh, run a bit faster, run a bit further. And so anyway, he was getting incredibly wound up. And in the end, he said, fine, you run a marathon then. And I was like, fine, I will. Oh, I've said that now. So on that, I obviously had to run my marathon. So I got backing, and I ran, I say backing, I ran for Battersea Dogs Home to run and raise money for them. It was really great. And I can't deny that the actual experience of the actual day was the most incredible thing. And it was wonderful. It really changed my mind. Like, running was fabulous in London with the massive crowd cheering you on. But the training, absolutely appalling. So lonely. Hours and hours of training just all by yourself. I actually only ran one day a week. My friend, who's a personal trainer, was always like, you can't do a marathon based on one run a week. I was like, I'm going to, though, aren't I?
Very impressive.
Well, I survived. I wouldn't say it was the best thing I ever did. But all I'm trying to say is I totally hear you that it is as boring as sin. But the actual day, just to stand up for those that do run regularly, when you do a race, it's just the most incredible thing. But I haven't done it since. So yeah, I can. Sorry?
You've ticked the box.
I have ticked the box, yes. I had friends the year after say, oh, come on, Donna, I'll do it this time with you. And so they said, come on, sign up again. I thought, no, because you know what'll happen? I'll get a space again and they won't. And I'll be doing it twice on my own. So yeah, no, absolutely hilarious. So Jill also says, thank you. Banjo is fluffy, not fat.
Yeah. So Emily Ridgway, who's commented further up on the list, might have something to say about that, because she's our Weight Watchers nurse, but okay.
I must admit, I'm also very, very strict about weight. So I do get told this too. So yeah, I'll probably agree with the other lady too. And I've not seen anyone. So sorry, Jill. So Becky,
really fluffy as well, though. So
Becky is brilliant. She's just put two emojis on with a cheese and a runner. So.
Well, the thing is, Reby and I both really love cheese. So to be honest, I probably could get on board with running if someone was making me run for cheese. So.
Have you watched the cheese rolling? Have you ever seen it?
The cheese rolling, and I think I probably could run very fast if I was trying to save some cheese. You
have to just go on YouTube and watch it. It is honestly so dangerous. People literally do break everything doing it. I mean, that's worse than maggots and pus, is watching them do that. Honestly, it makes you just, oh God, it's cringeworthy. Need to change subject. So, if you could do a Facebook Live with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
This is genuinely a difficult question, which is really, really hard to answer. I mean, again, you'd like to say something like, someone particularly famous. Celebrities don't really interest me, but I would be very interested to. I'm also very distracted about Emily Ridgway's new emoji. I think it's a weighing scale.
Yes, it is. I was actually thinking that. I was thinking, yes, weighing scale. Oh, bless you, Emily. We could chat. Sorry, you got distracted.
There's a genuinely difficult question that I don't actually know what the answer would be, because celebrities don't really interest me. I would love to speak to people like, for example, I'd like to speak to Boris Johnson face to face right now and actually ask him what's going on. I'd like to speak to the Queen as well.
I'd love to speak to the Queen.
Face to face. Personally, on a slightly different note, I'd love to speak to my dad again, but thinking other people that anyone else would know about, I think it would be someone like the Queen, or I'd like to have a good sit down with Boris and talk about what his COVID plan is.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you need a referee with the Boris? I think everybody's going to be with you on that one, thinking exactly the same. And yeah, the Queen, isn't she just the epitome of girl power? I mean,
she's always very careful with her words. She's always so very together. She's always, I'm not a big royalist, but I love the Queen. I think she does a lot for our country, and I think she's very humble.
Yes. I love that she was a mechanic. I mean, isn't that brilliant? So yeah, I think that's an amazing answer. So Jessica says, do you have a favourite nurse? Well done asking that, Jessica.
That is a tricky question to answer, because I love each and every one of them for very different reasons. I'm blessed with an incredible group of nurses who I rely on, each of them for different things, and I literally couldn't be without one of them. They're all incredible. And it's been very hard, especially during COVID, because I don't get to see every single one of them every day. And one of the lovely things about not just 9 Mile Vet Hospital, but our whole group, during the pandemic, we've obviously changed the ways of our working, and we've all been mixed up together as one big group. And it's been wonderful, because we've all been working together with different nurses, different vets. And it's been, that part of it has been wonderful, that we've all working together. But we are like one big family at 9 Mile, and I value each and every single one of our nurses, and we all get on really well, and we all look after each other. And no, I'm not answering, Jess, but I'll text you later.
I have to say, it's lovely that you put the word family in there as well, because you answered that just like a mother. I have to say,
feel like a little mother sometimes with them all.
It was so diplomatically answered. It's untrue. But yeah, well done, Jessica, for taking the opportunity to ask a question like that, because I just think that's hilarious and good for you taking advantage. So what meal do you like to cook the most often? You're a fast foodie or a prepare it and enjoy it type?
No, I like to prepare everything from scratch.
Well done.
Yeah, so I bet all the nurses are going to be texting me now. Is it me? Is it me? Yeah, I like to prepare everything from scratch. I'm like a big meal planner, so I like to plan well in advance and what we're eating. And then obviously we can change our minds if we want to. But I like doing everything from scratch, and I really like cooking Chinese food from scratch. So mixing up all the herbs and mixing up all the different, so you have to have loads of random stuff in your pantry, but you can mix up all the different herbs and putting all the fresh ingredients in. And I like doing those from scratch, so that there's no nasty additives and stuff like that in. And it's it's really good. And then you can tailor it as well for your heat and your spice as well.
I am very impressed by that. And so I'm assuming you are not a Chinese 5-spice person, because you just do it all separately.
You do need some Chinese 5-spice when you're doing crispy chili beef. That is the best way to have Chinese 5-spice, but everything else, you do from scratch.
Wow, well done you. I'm impressed. So you've got all the time to be an amazing vet and then go home and cook. It's impressive.
It's fun.
It is fun, and you need downtime, so that's really good. It's just amazing. It's lovely. So Rachel says A. Sorry, I don't know what that means. Oh, it might be that she's also then followed it with Queen's answer.
Probably into my response of not answering a question of who's my favourite nurse is.
That might be. Yes. That's my trouble on these comments, is when you try and follow them, I often get a bit lost. So I apologise for that. So tell us something that people might not know about you.
Well, they all know I'm very obsessed with cats, so everyone knows that about me. But when I was a child, I was very obsessed with cats, and I decided that I would write a book called Animals of the World, and I felt an incredible achievement, except I didn't get further than our pet cats in this book of Animals in the World. So my mum still has it, and our cat as a child was called Ming, after Ming the Merciless from Flash Gordon, and it was just pictures of Ming drawn by me. Sadly, it didn't get published officially, but I'm still holding out hope that maybe in the future I'll finish it, my Animals of the World. Probably I could combine it with my traveling around the world, and then maybe someone might publish it. But I felt it was a good book.
That sounds amazing. And to be honest, I think you've got quite a good idea there. I think you could be, I mean, especially these days, you could be a vlogger, can't you? And you could just go around. Yeah, go on your little travels, see what animals you found there. And let's face it, you can probably just do all the stray cats everywhere. Everybody will love it.
The other thing we used to do when it was all back on analog cameras is that my poor parents would take the camera to be developed at Boots and discover that it was just 24 pictures of me taking pictures of stray cats.
Oh, I bet that went down well. That's expensive.
Yes. I think they're very grateful when digital came, possibly a bit too late for family holidays, but yeah.
No, that's fair enough. Oh, that's a great story. I love that. Julie says, Emily is very impressive. All the staff love her. There you go. More Emily love. Well done. Thanks for saying that, Julie. So what's the most spontaneous thing you've ever done?
I'm not very good at being spontaneous. That's a very difficult question. I like to plan. I think part of the joy of anything is in the planning. And so I'm just not very good at being spontaneous. I'd love to be. I'd love to do spontaneous little gestures, but nothing big and spontaneous. I like to plan, and I think planning is really fun. And I like nothing better than a plan and a good checklist that I can tick things off. So unfortunately, I'm not very spontaneous. That probably makes me boring.
No, not at all. And to be honest, so I'm really organised, so I totally get that. And and it does feel good, doesn't it, ticking things off a list? So I totally get that. And unless you're a planner,
onto the list that I've done, so I can tick them off again.
Oh, whoa, you're one of those. So that's a whole new level. But what I was going to say is all that means is you haven't been given the right opportunity to be spontaneous.
What's the most spontaneous thing you've done?
I've done quite a bit, but probably the most spontaneous thing that I've done in the last year was a bungee jump. And what I mean by that, exactly, how ridiculous is that to do as a spontaneous thing? How is that even possible? But my friend who, so she's got this high level, she knows who she is, Cassandra, it's all your fault. She's got this like high ranking, highfalutin job, doing the office, and she's so organised and everything. But she has this like naughty side, and on her naughty side she decides that she works for a bungee jump company so she can have loads of fun doing bungee jumping all over the country, all sorts of things. And she's a manager, it literally does it all over the place, and she comes down to Bray every now and then. Now she's done this for years, literally years, and she's asked me to do it for years, but I've always been like, no, crazy lady, no. Anyway, I went to meet her for lunch. I thought she's got over trying to make me do a bungee jump, so I didn't really think that it was a risk anymore. So I went to literally meet her for lunch, and she was like, Donna, come on. And the thing is, she also knows what I'm like, and I can't deny that I always have shorts in my bag, usually, because if I'm wearing a skirt, I can't be trusted to not be upside down. It's the gymnast in me, to be fair. So I tend to always have shorts in my bag. She knows this. So she's like, Donna, I'm in a skirt and flip flops, for God's sake. But I couldn't help it. I did. I said, look, I'll do it if you do it. So we did a tandem together, and that was it. I was just like, I couldn't believe it either.
Did you do it again?
No, I wouldn't have done it that time if I planned it. That's what I'm saying. You've just not been given the right opportunity. So yeah, if I had to think that I was doing a bungee jump and physically book it and drive there, never would happen. Never in a million years. But the fact that I didn't have to do any of those things, I literally had to sort of just go on with the manager, was a whole different kettle of fish. So that's why I say you just haven't been in the right situation. Now, if you go and visit my friend Cassandra, you'll probably find you'll have done a bungee jump that day.
Hagen, a mental note to self not to visit her.
Yeah, I have also made a mental note not to go visit her again. So yeah, but it was good fun, to be fair, and you know, terrifying, absolutely terrifying, but you know, good fun. So no, so it doesn't matter. All, like I say, just keep it in your mind that you just haven't had the right opportunity yet, and some point something will happen. Oh, it'll probably be on your travels. Something happened in the airplane, and you'll have to jump out. Like, you'll have a parachute.
I have done a parachute jump. I've done one twice actually, and I did decide the first time I wouldn't do one again. Yet I did. And one of our nurses, Claire, so our deputy head nurse, who's currently head nurse, she does parachute jumps on a very, very regular basis, and is actually part of a team. So talk about, you know, staff members doing slightly crazy hobbies on the side, and she does all these you know, gymnastics in the sky, and they all join up together, and she sends me videos and that make me feel sick, to be honest. It's like they're tumbling out of the sky heading to the ground, and I'm just always grateful when she's still in one piece on Monday morning.
That's incredible. But you know, backtrack, you've jumped out of an airplane twice.
Yeah, it was planned. It wasn't like a plane crash or something, you know.
I get that you're not saying that that's spontaneous, but I'm sort of glad that you told us that, because I would never have got that information out of you otherwise. So yeah, that's amazing. I still think that's spontaneous. You know, fair enough, you have to book that in advance, but you can't help that. You spontaneity came when you actually decided to book it, hey? So yeah, absolutely amazing. So Zoe says, I've always wanted to do wing walking. Don't know why. Well, I think that's cool.
Get that booked up, Zoe.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Really cool in one of the suits as well. And I'm not sure Stowe would want to join you, but I think we need to get that booked up for you.
My friend did wing walking like a lot of years ago, but you know, she loved it. So yeah, not me. That's too scary. But yeah, I think she even did it on the Utterly Butterly plane. It was a long lot of years ago.
That's what I was thinking about when I was talking about. I think there's a Red Bull one and there's an Utterly Butterly one. I think there might be a crunchy one.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I think the Utterly Butterly one's the old one by miles. So yeah, you've been talking about your team and how amazing they are. So you know, tell us more about them. You know, what sort of amazing gifts have you got within your team? Other than crazy airplane jumpers.
So obviously there's lots of different, it depends how we look about different things that they do. So obviously there's the veterinary side of it. So we're very blessed as a team that we are not just GPs, we're a bunch of really, really good GPs, but we're also what's called advanced practitioners. So lots of the staff are either working towards it or have statuses with advanced practitioners. So we can, you know, no one can be good at everything, and it's fine to admit that. So it's important you have a team where everyone has a niche and all really different ideas of what they do. So for example, most of the time I might be able to tell whether a leg is broken, but I need someone else to fix it and guide us. So we've got two really fabulous surgeons who are brilliant at orthopedics and soft tissue and reconstructive and all sorts of that type of stuff, called Nikki and George. We've got Becky, who does ophthalmology, and she's absolutely incredible at it, and we all hand all our eye stuff over. We've got Rosie, who does dermatology. We've got Jo, who's fantastic at feline medicine, especially elderly medicine. She's really good at with your old cats and things like that. We've got Jean, who is really great at medicine as well, and she's Irish and an absolute brilliant laugh. And then we've got our Hannah and Jenny, who are our new graduates, who are just incredible. You know, you take your hat off to two people that have just come into the veterinary profession, and this is what they've been lumbered with, COVID-19, you know, and completely different ways of working, and they've excelled and are flying with it, and it's just absolutely incredible. We've also got Charlotte, who's a new grad as well, who works predominantly at Ansell's, which is one of our branches, and she's been working more at the main hospital as well. And I've got to see, because I haven't been able to do much work directly with her, and I've been getting to see working with her, and she's incredible as well. So we're very blessed with an incredible team of vets. And then we've also got an incredible team of vet nurses who are either training, because we're a training practice, and I have to say, we train some really, really good nurses. Like, we train really good nurses that can cope anywhere. We get them going straight away. We get them asking questions. We get them trying to answer their own questions so that we can then help them learn more. And we're also about talking. So, you know, no one is perfect. Sometimes you'll make a mistake, but it's really important to talk about the mistake so that we can learn through it. And the most important thing is talking and nurturing each other. With regards to crazy things that people do, I'm trying to think of different things. Obviously, yeah, Claire jumps out of planes.
That's really going to win.
Yeah, to be honest, that's just going to win, isn't it? But they're all just a brilliant team. And then we've also got our admin team. So we've got a great group of nurses, receptionists, Julie, my practice manager, Karen, who does insurance. We call her the lady in the corner. Because
so important, though.
It is. Her desk is in the corner, and actually clients call her the lady in the corner as well. And occasionally she leaves the corner, but we have to send her back to it. We just put like a little bungee rope on it, and she'll ping back into her corner. So,
bless her.
Very good at insurance, so she helps a lot of people where maybe the claim wouldn't have happened, and she gives good advice and sound advice and helps people through them.
Oh, well done. That team sounds absolutely amazing. So well done. While you've been telling us all about your amazing team. No, not at all. No, it is, honestly, it's truly amazing to hear about how amazing your team is, because unless you tell us, we don't know. And what opportunities are there to really shout about it? Not many. So it's really important, because otherwise people don't realise that you've got an amazing orthopedic load behind you, and they sort of think, oh no, he's done something to my leg. And you know, it's quite reassuring to know that I was okay, because now I've got a good bit. So no, not at all. But all I'm saying is there's a load of comments that have come in, so I just wanted to catch up on them. Caroline says, how have you been coping with all the new restrictions in place?
So we are a 24-hour clinic, so obviously we couldn't reduce our hours. So we've got an incredible team on at night, day, doesn't matter when you turn up, you'll get the same type of level of service. We're not we'll patch you up and send you on your way till normal hours. So we couldn't restrict the number of hours we're working, because we wanted to ensure we were still doing a hospital service, hospitalized patients and seeing patients at 2 a.m. So we briefly restricted the hours at our branch practices and brought all of our staff to the main hospital. And then we changed our rota pattern so that we were doing slightly longer shifts, but it meant that we were then not overlapping as many, because obviously the key points is not having too many staff on site at one time. Now, thankfully, obviously our main site is very large, so that we could then zone our staff so that we could then keep into small teams. And then obviously everyone wears PPE. So then when obviously, first of all, planning what our staff are doing, we then needed to think about how we're going to look for our clients. So we then start most consults, unless they have to be seen straight away in the hospital, with a telephone consult. And a lot of those telephone consults will be me. And very helpfully, lots of people will be sending in pictures, videos of what they're concerned about, so that then I can look at it and ascertain whether I can then prescribe over the phone, talk to the owner, decide what we're going to do to try and keep you at home. Or if you then do need to come into the practice, you're then coming in with a plan already in place. And so therefore, then obviously each case has to be taken into different considerations, because obviously it depends on the human behind that animal. So we want to ensure, first of all, is, what are their situation? Are they at risk? Are they shielding? Are they shielding someone else? Are they elderly? So then we've got to think about how we can help people in that respect. So we were sending meds in the post where we could, or then we're trying to think, could someone else bring your animal in? And then at the moment, like many other practices, we're not having any clients on site at the moment. And thankfully, the weather has been kind to us. So we're doing most stuff in the car park, where we can keep everyone nicely apart in fresh air. And then we will come out with PPE on, bring your animal in, examine them in the practice, and then talk to you over the phone and make a plan. And then obviously we're doing things like wiping carriers down, switching leads if you want to. If we do have to have close contact with you, for example, in sad end of life situations, then we have ways around that. We have PPE to offer to the clients, but we're just trying to do as much as we can outside, safe distance, and then on the phone. So we're still offering the same services that we were offering before. We've slowly reintroduced pretty much all routines now, trying to get everything back ongoing, making sure animals are still getting their worming and flea control. Again, delivering meds. So you call us, we'll pop them outside, come back inside, so that then you don't have to have any contact. But as I said, yes, so we are 24 hours a day. We're here, and our amazing teams are here and ready to help you if you need us.
Well done. I mean, that's great. And the effort that the veterinary community has had to put in for this has been absolutely shocking, hasn't it? Huge. So, yeah, well done.
It is working at the moment, but obviously if things don't work, we reevaluate and we change what we do so that it is safe for everyone. So if we can make it safe for us and safe for you, then the rest will follow.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done. Well done. So Emma Louise said, all the staff at 9 Mile are amazing, but we love Emily. I have a GSP called Jenny, and she loves Emily too. Oh, that's nice.
Special.
Thank you for sharing, Emma. Carolyn says, your nurses are amazing.
Oh, yes.
And Mandy says, our dog Marmite loves Emily. Oh, thank you, Mandy.
Oh, very cute. Always up to mischief.
And Lucy says, cough, night team, cough. Yes. I'm not sure you can say cough right now, but I understand where you're going with it.
You shouldn't be saying cough, Lucy. I was including all nurses. The night team are not a different team. The night team are a whole part of the team. So I was referring to all of them at the same time. She just wants to be favourite nurse.
I was going to say, the diplomatic answer came back out again. Well done. So I also want to ask you, obviously, what do you love about physio?
About physio. Physio is a really important part of any animal's rehabilitation. We do so much of it in human medicine as well, to get yourself back into actually moving properly and living your normal. Sorry, Lucy's up to mischief down in the comments. To get them living their normal life. So we do loads of orthopedic surgery at 9 Mile. So physio is part of the important part of that, to actually get your joints moving again, get the muscle built up again. And it's also really good when you can obviously give your clients exercises that they can do at home as well, to empower the clients at home to actually be part of the rehabilitation process. But it is something that sadly I think does get overlooked sometimes, and it really shouldn't, because it should be part of the whole healing process. And not just your surgery's done, you're good to go. No, just in the same way as in a human hospital, actually, this is where it's getting started, your rehabilitation. So yes, the surgery is a success, brilliant. Now we need to get you back to where you were. And physio plays the part there. And I guess it's not only just surgery, it's about those elderly patients as well, where they're not walking as far, so then they lose muscle and they need help rebuilding that muscle so that they can then keep mobile for as long as possible.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much. I mean, that's a really, great overview of physio. And yes, so Emily, very clearly pro physio. So thank you for that, Emily. It's really nice when you hear vets say such positive things about physio, and you're bang on, absolutely. And yes, definitely love treating the geriatrics. They are just because they love it. You give them a nice massage and they really love it, because they're always so tight and everything, like, you know, around the neck and shoulders and things, and you get them there in their muscles, and they just go, oh, this is amazing. So it's really nice as well. So it's, obviously it's functional, but they also just really enjoy it. So it's just really lovely. So yeah, that's fantastic. So thank you for that, Emily. Lucy, yes, you are a monkey, but it's good. Great. Thank you for getting involved. I really appreciate it. So favourite nurse over here. So Lucy, you are definitely going for the self-nomination award, which is fabulous. And I think that's absolutely to be commended. So well done. What's the weirdest dream you've ever had?
I think the flying dreams always have to be the weirdest ones. And you wake up and you think, oh, it'd be really good to be able to fly. I think flying everywhere is always very strange. I think also what can also be very strange is when you dream about a member of your staff doing something strange, and you wake up in the morning and then you go to work and you look at them very strangely, and it's that's always a weird one when you actually dream of someone that's quite, you know, that they've asked you something and you think, was that a dream or was that reality?
Yeah, no, I agree. And you know, sometimes when I dream about people, I'll text them the next day so that they know, because it'll always be something weird and funny, but they've obviously been on your mind. So I always think, make that connection and let them know. And often they do text back, weirdo. And I'm like, I'm fine with that. That's fine. But I was just sharing. So yeah, you clearly, if you're dreaming about the flying thing and you've jumped out of an airplane and you like to fly, there's clearly a theme going on there with you.
Don't tell Claire to get me up in the skies. Yes.
I was going to say, I feel like you need to go and do your pilot's license.
I think the next comment's for you, Donna.
Well, I was going to say, so do you recommend physio for hip dysplasia? Do you want to answer that? Or, I mean, I'm happy to.
I think you should.
Okay, I absolutely love treating hip dysplasia. It's like one of my absolute favorites because it is really successful. So obviously there are going to be cases where surgical intervention is needed. But I personally love it when the vets just go, oh, hip dysplasia case, let's just send them to Donna and let's work the magic. It is absolutely dependent on an owner being able to do everything that's required, and the dog obviously being compliant as well, because there is exercises needed to build it up and tighten everything up. But just to put it really briefly, you've got your cup here for your hip, and you've got your ball socket here. And with a nice hip, we have a nice cup section, cup looking thing. And with hip dysplasia, it doesn't quite fit right. So therefore, we move around too much in this joint. And so as a physio, what I'm going to do is build up all the muscle around here, which makes it, well, it doesn't change the bone shape, but it just makes it sit firmly so that it all works properly. And we have great success with it. And it's really lovely. And I've got so many clients that give me such great feedback about it. And there has been patients that have been, said the vet's been like, we might have to go for hip dysplasia, hip replacements on this. And then I've done my physio, and the owners have been hugely compliant and done everything they need to, which I can't say enough how important that is. And therefore, we've had a great result, and we haven't had to look back, and we haven't had to do the surgery. So yes, I'm very pro hip dysplasia physio, obviously. But yeah, I do also recognise limitations with things as well. And if an owner hasn't got time to be able to put in the exercise, then obviously that does change things. But for me, start with the physio every time, and the hydro, and possibly, there's various combinations, but you can always just discuss it. So did you want to add anything to that, Emily?
No, I think you've covered everything there. And I think that there is always a place for trying the least invasive routes before you reach for the knife. And you can always try those first. And even if you do end up having to go the invasive route, you've then got to come back to the physio as well, because it has its place everywhere, but you have nothing to lose for trying good exercise, physio, hydro, acupuncture, all those other things, because they're not going to do any harm whatsoever. And they can do a lot of good if you put the time in.
Excellent. Yes, well done. Thank you for asking that question, Carolyn. That was a great question. She also says thank you, which is lovely. So if you could treat any animal in the world, what would it be?
Well, It depends whether they're real or not, because it'd be really cool to treat a unicorn. But
That is true.
unfortunately, though, I don't remember any of my equine medicine anymore. I can identify horses, and so hopefully I could identify a unicorn. But I think seeing a unicorn would be really cool, or a baby panda bear.
Oh, too cute. Yes, definitely. That would be very cool. And by the way, with a unicorn, I'm pretty sure all you need to do is like get its tears and then just put it wherever it needs it, and like self-healing. So really you're just a transport carrier. I could be a unicorn vet. So yeah, that's perfect. So what's the most memorable part of your career so far?
I think that there's not one single thing that speaks out. It's a multiple of different occasions that's most memorable. Is the moment where you make a difference to someone's life, and it's receiving those thank you cards from clients. That one card I had even written from an animal, which was incredible. And I keep them all. I keep all the thank you cards in a box, and I look at them from time to time, and it reminds us of why we do this job. And the reason is that because we make tiny little differences to people's lives, and it might be a tiny difference, but it might be a huge difference to that person and that animal. And I think it's important to remember, especially during these crazy times where we're all doing strange things, strange lives and all of that, that the most important thing is being kind, and the most important thing is being nice to each other. And if we as vets can make someone happy and make a little bit of a difference, I think that that's incredible. And I think that that's an incredible job if we get to do this, and maybe a couple of times a week we make a difference. I think it's brilliant. So
That's an amazing answer. So thank you. Yeah, that's really lovely. So the final question. I think I asked you to give us one top tip, and what I can't remember was whether it was for lockdown or for enjoying summer, because I can't even remember what I asked you now. What was your top tip that you wanted to share?
My top tip, possibly I've just said it, is just my top tip for everything right now in this crazy world is just be nice to each other, be kind, go that extra mile to say something nice to someone or do a nice gesture, because isn't it lovely when you get one back? This really gorgeous girl called Sophia down our road near 9 Mile made us all beautiful loom bands that were rainbow coloured, and it literally made our day, and we're still all wearing them. And she wrote us this beautiful note, and it's little things like that that make a difference. So if you can do a little something for someone else, just because, then do it.
That's a really, really lovely thing to say, Emily. And it's been so good talking to you. It's been lovely learning all about you. I've learned so much. But most importantly, it's been lovely to learn about your humility. So, it's really, really lovely. All of your clients are incredibly lucky to have you. And so are your staff. Including Lucy. So I wanted to say to my wonderful audience, thank you so much for watching. It has been absolutely fantastic to have you on here. I hope you've enjoyed listening to Emily. Emily was actually nominated by Jenny from another practice. So yes, vets are friends with each other across practices. It's amazing. And clearly your connection is probably your cat love, because you're both incredible cat lovers. So that's exactly. So it's been amazing getting my second nominated vet on. So make sure if anyone watching wants to nominate a vet to come on here, let me know who it is. You can either put that in the comments, or you can email me or messenger me, whatever. And I will try and get that vet on for you. I have got a few that I am trying to chase, but they are very busy people. But I have my big announcement for my next one coming up in 2 weeks' time. So I think that's the 17th. Make sure you are here for this. I have got TV vet Paul Manctolo coming on. He is big. He has done Daybreak. He's done oh god, the list goes on. I can't even remember now. He's done some CBB stuff. He actually runs Vital Pet Health. He's a crafts presenter. He's done all sorts of things. So I'm very, very chuffed to have pulled that one off. And I know. So I look forward to that. And yeah, so thank you again, Emily.
Thank you. Good to talk to you all.
No problem. Take care. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. Stay safe.